Hello. So this yoga video is going to focus on lower back pain. I'm making it for my friend Fatima especially, but I've had a couple people recently tell me that they've been having some low back issues and they'd like something, some asana or transition that will help them to deal with that. One of the things I want you to keep in mind when you're dealing with low back pain is that there's two primary things that will help you to avoid it. One is going to be tightening up your abdominals, because that's what supports your lower back in a lot of bending over positions. And if you have any sway back going on, pulling in that abdominal will help to support. Another thing that happens often is that you have some compression. So if you have your sway in your back, if you're pushing forward here, you'll compress throughout. But if you can lift up and think of lifting up and finding space in that low back, it will really help to avoid that. So we're going to start off really slow because I just woke up, so I'm nice and stiff like somebody who has low back pain. And I'll go ahead and come into rock pose. If this is really awkward for you, then just take a cross-leg position, totally up to you. Focus in on your breath for a moment. So taking your intentions away from any distractions that might be happening around you, any feelings of obligations or stress that you've been holding on to. And maybe just start to count your breath. Taking a deep inhale, pressing into the belly, and then exhale, pulling the belly into the spine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feeling that deep release, feeling that abdominal activation there, often referred to as Uddiyana Bandha, the navel lock, that support of one of our main chakras, one of our main centers of balances. Okay, we're going to do one more pranayama before we go into the movement. So one more breath before we go through movement. And I want you to take a deep breath, scrunch up your face, tighten all the muscles throughout, draw your shoulders back, and then stick your tongue out. This looks funny. Breathing through your mouth, letting the heat energy go. Take a deep inhale. Let's do it one more time. All that stress and just let it go. Coming back into your neutral breath. Pressing the diaphragm down as you inhale and exhaling, pulling it up. And we'll start to move our spine back and forth with our breath, bringing our hands down near our knees and inhaling, drawing your chest forward, feeling that curve in your back but lifting through. And then exhale, pushing your back far behind you, extending it behind you. Inhale, press forward. Exhale, move back. And then begin to play with your speed. Picking up the pace will help to loosen up your spine. It'll help to wake up your nervous system. And then maybe really picking up the pace, coming into a kundalini motion here. Keeping your head upright. One thing I notice is a lot of people drop their head down because it makes them feel like they're exaggerating the motion. But just keep your head up nice and tall, maybe finding a spot in front of you to gaze at. We'll keep going for about 10 more seconds. And keep lifting through as you press the chest forward and pull it back behind you. then take an inhale, come in neutral spine and hold it for as long as you can. Feeling that energy release throughout the body. And then exhale, coming back into your neutral breath. We'll use that same motion, this time taking advantage of gravity, so bringing our hands in front of us and coming into a nice little tabletop, knees hip distance apart. We're going to inhale, pressing the chest forward, dropping the belly. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine up to the sky. And moving forward on your inhale again, let's tuck our toes and press into your feet to really push your chest forward. Exhale, point your toes behind you and tuck the tailbone. Press down into the top of your feet to really lift up, open up that back. Inhale, tucking the toes. Exhale, press through. We'll do a few more. And settle into your neutral back again. We're going to do some spinal twists, which is really great for when your back problem is more of a twist in the back rather than a curve to the side. My cat's going to come over and help me maybe. Inhale, reaching out and up with one arm. Stacking the shoulders, opening up the chest, and keeping the hips level right over those knees. And then exhale, sweeping that arm underneath, reaching as far over to the side as you can. And then inhaling again, opening up the chest, stacking the shoulders, try to create that straight line from the tip of the right fingers all the way down to the left wrist. And once you feel like you've got warmed up through here, through this twist, we're going to settle down into it. So maybe one more. And then reaching all the way through, dropping the right shoulder down and laying the right ear on the ground. And you can start to reach your left hand up overhead and open up through that left shoulder. After holding for about 3 breaths, slowly coming back out of it into your tabletop. And we'll go through on the other side. So reaching up, stacking the shoulders, and then underneath. And you should feel your abdominals engaging here to stabilize your back so that you're not dropping down here. Keeping that nice flat back. And we'll do one more. Oh, good morning, Truffles. And then slowly settling down into it, walking that right hand up overhead, making sure that your hips stay level, maybe sinking back a little bit to deepen that stretch, but keep rolling open that right shoulder. Deepening your inhales and exhales. Feeling whatever strain you might feel and exhaling to release it, breathing into that tension. And then exhale, slowly releasing out of it. We're going to tuck our toes underneath here and then just push back, take a nice little foot stretch here. Allow your hands to extend forward, finding a modified balasana. Just really helps out with any tension you feel in your feet, flexing the toes to the opposite direction that they're used to. And breathing into the lower back one more time, inflating up that lumbar. And then exhale, pressing into the hands and lifting the hips. Pressing back and sinking the heels towards the ground, finding your downward dog. And we'll take a deep bend on the right knee. Press into that left heel real hard. And try to keep the weight evenly in your hands, pressing through all 10 fingers. And then switching. And exhale, slowly release. Inhaling, we're going to press through into plank. So again, like I was saying before, keeping those abdominals nice and strong is going to be key to supporting your lower back. So try to flatten out your back and lift up your hips a little bit more than maybe you would normally in plank. Take a nice deep inhale, and exhale, we'll come down onto our forearms, keeping our back just where it is, elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and squeeze the ankles in towards one another. And focus here for 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, and inhale, pressing back through the palms and sink those heels back into your downward dog again. We'll look up to our hands and slowly step the feet one at a time, walking all the way up until you're in your forward fold. Big toes together. If you feel off balance, take them hip distance apart and just let your head hang for a moment. Releasing any tension in the neck, turning from side to side, nodding yes and no. We'll come to the tips of our fingers. Bring a slight bend to your knees if you're not quite on the ground. And just walk over to the right side, squeezing the legs towards one another to keep their legs in alignment until you feel a nice stretch through the left side, through the opposite side that you're walking your hands. And you should feel it even in the low back. Maybe seeing if you can't get any further over there. Keeping that stretch active, and then exhaling, walking to the other side. Slowly release back into front. And we're going to walk our hands up onto our shin and flatten out your back here. And really feel that abdominal activation as you reach through the crown of your head, extending your head away from your hips, and then pulling in the abs to pull up that low back. So you're flexible. A lot of times you'll drop the low back here, but you want to keep it nice and flat. We'll inhale the arms out to their sides, and then come up nice and tall. Exhale, slowly release the hands. Inhale, reach up the left arm, and sink the right arm down the side. So we'll stand more in front so you can see this better. Sink the right side down. So you're lifting through the chest as you sink this arm down. Exhale, slowly release and switch sides. Take it as deep as your body wants to go for today. Switch sides again. Finding that nice deep stretch through the side. One more time. And exhaling slowly to release. Coming back to the top of the mat and centering yourself. Just find Tadasana for a moment. So spreading the toes nice and wide. You want to be pressing the feet into the ground. So feel that activation in the calves as you press down, and then lift up through the thighs and create a slight pelvic tilt. So Tadasana is just, it's that pose, it's that standing pose, but a lot of times we'll find a sloppy curve here maybe. You want to really draw the shoulders onto your back, pelvic tilt to engage the abdominals, and then open the hands out to the side. Allow your chin to tilt down. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, find that flat back halfway, and then release all the way down. Let yourself hang. Inhale, extend your back looking forward, maybe coming up on the shins. Depends on your flexibility in the back of your legs. And then stepping back into your plank. Keeping that flat back, exhale. Let's do knees, chest, chin first time. Keeping the hips raised and then pressing through to lift into your cobra. So you want to reach your sternum forward, point the toes behind you, and have as little weight in the hands as possible, maybe bringing them off the ground. Take a deep inhale and exhale, pressing back into your plank and pushing into your downward dog. And we'll step our right foot forward, lowering the back heel, letting the hips sink down and then opening up to your warrior one, reaching through the fingertips. Let the shoulders slide away from the ears and then pull in that lower back like somebody's pressing through right into that belly. Exhale, frame the right foot, step back into plank. This time if you feel like your arms are going to work with you, chaturanga, otherwise lower the knees, chest, chin again. So chaturanga, elbows are in. Inhale, lifting into upward dog or cobra. And exhale, pressing back into downward dog. One thing to keep in mind when you're lifting into upward dog is that you're still stretching your sternum up and forward, so you don't want any compression in the back. Step the left foot forward, lowering the back right heel, inhale, reaching out and up. Again, reaching that right hip forward, left hip back, and then pulling in the belly tight. Nice deep inhale, exhale, frame the left foot, step back into plank, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, pressing back. Allow your heels to sink down, feel a stretch in the back, and slowly walk your feet up to your hands. Allow the head to hang heavy. Inhale, extend. Feel that abdominal nice and tight, supporting your low back, and then come all the way up. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, let's go through that salutation once more. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, extend. Exhale, step the right foot back. Inhale, coming up into warrior one. Right heel is down to the mat. Reaching through the fingers, dropping the shoulders down the back. Pulling in the belly. Exhale, frame the left foot. Chaturanga. Inhale, lifting through. And exhale, pressing back. Left foot steps forward. Inhale, reaching out and up. Sink the hips down. Exhale, come all the way down. Chaturanga. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, pressing back. And slowly walk, or you can float up to your hands, which means jump. And slowly release your torso down, let it hang heavy. And then slowly walk your hands up your legs, coming all the way up nice and tall. We're going to step our feet wide down our mat. We'll do a little Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose, turning the right toes towards the right side of the mat. Open the arms out to the side and start to reach over that right leg, pushing out the left hip. Keeping activation on this right thigh. Exhale, slowly releasing down. Maybe coming to the calf. You want to keep reaching through the crown of the head. If you can, come down to the big toe. Go right ahead, but stack the shoulders. Open up that left shoulder and start to pull up on that left hand. So the weight's not sinking down on this right hand. And think about that chest opening up. One more nice deep inhale here. And then press through the legs to lift up. We'll go to the other side. Reaching over that left side as far as you can. Pushing back the right hip. And then exhale slowly with control, come down. Open up the right shoulder. Palm facing up to the sky. Looking straight out or up to your hand. Deepening your inhales and exhales. Pulling up through the right side body and reaching out through the crown of the head. Inhale, coming back up. And then exhale, slowly releasing the hands by your side. We'll turn our feet forward, pressing into the hips for support, lifting up the sternum as you inhale. Exhale with your flat back, slowly coming all the way down. You can just release your hands in line with your feet. Maybe walk your feet out a bit more so you're about 5 foot apart. And drop your head down in a straddling forward fold. You can even bring a bend to the elbows to help you to sink deeper into that straddle. But be cautious of locking your knees, so you want to keep lifting up on the thighs to support your knees. And we'll inhale, coming back forward, extending the back. So the back's nice and long, you're looking in front of you, and then start to walk over to the right foot. We'll grab a hold with our left hand and reach the right hand up. This is a bit of a balance, so keep squeezing the legs towards one another. Reaching the crown of the head out. And then exhale, slowly release those hands and walk on over to your left side, keeping the back nice and long. And with the right hand reaching under for that ankle and then opening up. And exhale, slowly releasing. We'll step our feet in just a little bit and keep your toes pointed out. Sink those hips down so you're in a nice deep squat here. And inhale, open the arms out to the side. See if you can't get the hips any lower. Tucking the tailbone, so let me show you from the side angle. So tuck the tailbone rather than swaying forward, tuck that tailbone, and then sink down a bit more. See if the arms can't reach out in front. And then exhale, release the hands to the back and curl your back behind you. Inhale, drawing it back forward, and then find that neutral spine. Sink back into your squat. Plug the shoulders back and sink the hips down. Holding for 3, 2, and then exhale, slowly release the hands and step the feet back into a downward dog. Sinking the hips down nice and low. Take a deep inhale. And we'll glide forward into plank. And dropping down onto our elbows again. Interlacing the fingers and holding up that the hips just enough that you could flatten out your back and feel the abs working. Focusing in on your breath. Draw your attention into those deep inhales and exhales. Feel your body elongated, squeezing the legs and ankles towards one another. Take one more nice deep inhale, and exhale, release the knees down and press back into your Vinyasa. Letting the knees come nice and wide and the low back sink down, let the chest come even as far to the mat, maybe dropping your head down. And we're going to inhale, coming forward, bringing the knees back underneath our hips, and then exhale, draw the elbows in and come all the way down. Pressing into the palms, slowly lift up into your cobra again, drawing the elbows towards one another, keeping the pelvis planted on the ground, reaching the crown of the head up, and then exhale, lowering back down. So let's do that again. This time, try to extend your arms a little bit more. And we're going to inhale, slowly pressing through. And if you're a Shiva Raya fan, you can throw in your serpentine cobra, rolling the shoulders around, coming back up when you're ready. And then exhale, slowly coming back down. Remembering this is always your practice, so take whatever modification feels right for you, as long as you're not collapsing in your low back. And then inhale one more time, coming back up. And exhale, slowly coming back down. And we'll tuck the toes, bend the knees, and push back into your child's pose again. Stretch the back nice and long. Drop the chest down. And walk your hands up so that you're back into your hero pose. Knees together, toes pointing behind you. And after flexing our back, we're going to go into an opposite direction. So bringing your hands down to the ground, we're going to bring the crown of our head just between our knees so your forehead's pressing into your knees for rabbit pose. So exhaling, slowly coming down, lifting up the hips, and then reaching back for the sole of the foot. And keep focusing on lifting those hips, and don't turn your head back and forth to the side, so just look towards your knees. And then exhale, slowly releasing. And if that felt really good, feel free to go back into it one more time. Otherwise, we're going to bring the feet in front of us. Holding onto the back of the legs, we'll come up into our boat pose. So, at first, draw your chest forward. You want to keep pressing your chest forward in this pose because the weight of your torso will want to curve. And find that curvature is not going to be good for your spine. Inhale, start to lift the legs up. Keep pressing the chest forward. See if you can't go all the way into full boat. Reaching your arms forward. And on the count of 5, we're going to exhale, slowly releasing down with our legs extended. 4, 3, 2, and release down. Take a nice full body stretch. We'll draw your knees into your chest, crossing the ankles, and just roll up and down a few times. And see if you can't keep that roll going, but release your hands so that your abs are doing the work. Let's do one more. And coming back up into our seated pose. We'll just bring the soles of our feet together. And hold on to your ankles. Don't worry about drawing them so far in that your knees come up too close. So you can leave them as far out as they need to be. You could get a good grip on your ankles though. And then we're going to exhale, drawing the chest forward, keeping the back nice and flat. Just stretching out from the inside of the legs. Taking one more nice deep inhale and then slowly releasing to come out of it. We'll draw our legs nice and straight in front of us so that we're in stick pose. Hands are supporting by your side, feet are flexed in. Draw the shoulders onto your back. Inhale, reaching out and up, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, start to reach towards your feet, but keep your back nice and flat. Most of the time when I see my students doing this, I see them do this and then, so try to keep it right here, hold it a little bit longer. Tighten up the abdominals to help you reach forward a bit more. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. Take one more nice deep inhale, and then exhale, slowly release. We'll press in to the mat slightly behind our hips. Bend one knee at a time, and inhale, lift the hips up nice and high. Open up the chest to the sky. And exhale, slowly release. Inhale, lifting up one more time. Finding that nice flat back. And exhale, slowly releasing, coming back down. And crossing our ankles, focusing back in on your breath. And we'll just roll around our hips a few times. So drawing your shoulders down, and then coming back. And trying to keep the chest nice and open. So that rolling is really coming from your lumbar region. And then change direction. Well, inhale, coming up nice and tall, pulling the legs in together. It's time now to kill your abdominals so that they can support your lower back more than they normally do. We'll interlace our fingers behind our head, just at the base of the skull, and keeping our knees directly over our hips. Extend your right leg, and then inhale, reach the right elbow towards your left knee. And then switch, try to keep those knees right over the hips. We'll go back and forth, pushing through your breath. And keep going for 5, 4, 3, 2, and exhale, slowly release the legs down by the side. Let the head come down. Inhale, we'll extend our feet straight up so that our legs can sink back into the hip socket. And if you have a wall, this pose is really great for letting your legs just come up on that wall so that they can hang back. It's a great release for the low back. I think he's saying the video is going too long. A little bit longer, don't worry. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale, and then exhale, reach towards the toes, lifting the chest up, using the abs, and pressing the low back into the mat to lift up a bit more. Holding for 3. See how close you can get to the toes without grabbing a hold of your legs. 2. And then exhale, slowly release. And keep holding those legs up there. And again, you can still do this on the wall. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale, reach towards those toes. Holding for 3. Get a little bit higher than you were before. 2. And exhale, releasing completely. Roll over. We'll bend our knees, drawing our feet into our hands, taking our nice little happy baby, hooking your big toe with your first 2 fingers, and then extending the legs. And here you want to keep your low back on the mat, so only extend your legs as far as you can with your back just flat onto the mat, with the exception of your head using your cat as a pillow. You can rock from side to side in your happy baby. Starting to calm the body down. We'll bend the knees, draw the right knee into the chest real close, and let the left leg come down long. And let that right knee come over the left side of the body, keeping both shoulders flat into the ground until you feel that nice stretch in the back. And exhale, slowly release. And switch sides, drawing in the left leg at first, pulling it in nice and tight. Activate the biceps here, so push your shoulders flat onto the ground and then pull that leg in tighter. We'll let the left leg come over the right side body. And if that spinal stretch wasn't quite intense enough to crack your back or help you find that release, this one always seems to work for me. Extending your legs nice and straight over the hips, keeping the arms out to the side in a T. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, let the legs come down to the right side. And then inhale, lifting them back up. Exhale, letting them come down to the left side. And we'll inhale, drawing them back up. And exhale, bend them into your chest. Just roll your knees around your hips a few times. And draw them in the opposite direction. And settle down into your Shavasana. Feeling a nice little release. Whenever you're ready, coming out of your Shavasana, taking it for as long as you'd like. Again, I want to thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste. And thank you, Fatima, for requesting the video.